Everybody, it's Jill for today, and I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to be preparing a summer soup that comes with the summer months when we have lots of zucchini and all that great string beans, all that great stuff. This was a recipe that my mother gave us when we were kids growing up. We were pretty broke, and there were 4 kids and my mom and dad, and that woman could stretch a dollar like, I don't know. She did. And this was one of the things that she prepared, and I have changed it up a little bit because we were using non-vegan foods. So I'll explain that to you as I go along. So I'm going to bring you down and I'll show you the ingredients and we'll get started. Okay, here we are. All right, so what I have here, the star of the show is zucchini. So I have a large yellow squash. I have 2 small zucchinis. I have a handful of string beans. Those are coming on now, so string beans is a good option to put in the pot. I've got a medium onion that's been chopped, and also about 3 cloves of garlic. And the nice thing about this, it's a very versatile recipe, but what I try to stay away from is something that seems like a minestrone soup. Also included is a can of tomatoes that are chopped, and some salt and pepper to taste, Italian seasoning, and I like a little more oregano flavor, so I'm going to add just a little bit more because I want this Italian flavor. And then some water to help fill up the pot. So let me get started here. I'm going to be doing this in my Instapot. This is something you could put in a slow cooker. You can put it on the stove. The reason I do the Instapot is because I can do this on camera and it's easier than trying to set up at the stove. So what I have to do now is I'm going to chop up these zucchini. And the thing about it is you want this chunky, you want it to have some substance to it. So that's why, we're looking at probably a 1/2 inch slice and probably an inch or inch and a quarter. So it's a nice little chunk. And then the zucchinis that are this size, I'm not even going to cut them up, cut them across. I'm just going to go ahead and just chunk them. And my mother, when we had this recipe when we were kids, and as I said, we were pretty broke, and that woman, I don't know how she did it on the money that we had, but she was very creative. And this recipe, she would make up a big batch of it, and then for dinner, she would drop an egg in the pot, crack open the egg, and drop it into the pot very slowly, so it would just kind of make like a hard-boiled egg within the pot, so each of us got an egg. And then there would be French bread, and we'd sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on top. So that's really the recipe that we had, and it was great, and she fed us on that for a couple nights, and we were good to go. So I'm going to bring it up just a little bit here. Okay, so here's my Instant Pot, and I'm going to set it on the saute function, and I'm going to get this with a little spray. This is from my great little mister. I love this mister. Love it. That's my beeper telling me the pot is on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute the onions, and then I'm going to put the garlic in. I like to kind of separate them a little bit because you want that garlic flavor to be a little bit, stronger. And if you cook it with the onions, it tends to kind of water down just a little bit. So I'm going to wait till this pot gets hot, and I feel it starting to roll already. The Instapot is great, and what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to leave it on slow cooker because I have things to do, and this is what's so great about this pot. And when I do that, I've bought this nice top. It's a pressure cooker, so it has a pressure cooker lid, but with this, there you go, you got a slow cooker. And so that's what I'm going to use. All right, so I think we're ready to go here. I'm going to try not to add any water, which I don't have to right now. I think that it will saute fine with just a little bit of oil that I have put in there, the oil spray. So we're going to get that moving. Here's my spoon. Okay. We are just a little. There, I feel it. There we go. There, I boosted you up a little bit so you can see a little. It is kind of hard to see in the pot. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of quick saute this to get it softened just a little bit, because once it starts to simmer, it will, you know, cook down on its own, so I don't have to do a lot of pre-saute. I'm just going to go ahead and get that started. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt, and again, you know, this is all to taste. I use a lot of salt. Probably shouldn't, but I do. So there's some pepper in there. Hope I don't steam you up there with the camera and the Instapot here. I'm going to move it back just a little bit. There we go. All right, and now I'm going to add the garlic. Move that around a little bit. Smells so good, and this recipe, when I make it, it always, you know, it reminds me of my mom, and she was a great cook. In fact, I have so many recipes of hers, and of course they're non-vegan, but I have pretty good luck at, you know, transposing a recipe that's non-vegan into vegan, and I actually thought about me putting some of these together in a book format and doing a little bit of a cookbook. So now I'm going to throw the zucchini in. You know, this is really such a simple recipe. And the string beans. String beans, I've got maybe a cup there. And you could certainly use canned string beans if you don't have fresh ones. I just happen to be very lucky to walk into Costco and they had a big bag of organic string beans. So that was my luck. All right, so we're gonna get this moving. I've got now some can of diced tomatoes. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. Maybe a little more, maybe a teaspoon and a half. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon of oregano. Give that a little crush there. All right, and I'm going to stir this up. And as you can see, we're going to need some water, and that's exactly right. That's and if you want to add more tomatoes, you can, but this really is, it's pretty peasant food, you know, so to add more tomatoes to it, if you've got them, fabulous. But what I do is I just, as you can see, I'm just bringing that level of water up to the top there, right, see? And then this is it. I'm going to add just a little bit more water, or salt, excuse me, a little more salt, and a little more pepper. And I'm going to let this simmer until the zucchini is tender. You don't want it mushy. It'll get mushy as it sits, right, in the refrigerator. So at this point you want, and the string beans, they will get done. They're not going to be soft and mushy. They'll be done. And then once it's finished cooking, between that time and now, I'm going to, and again, you can use any kind of pasta you want, or you could leave it out. This is a whole wheat orzo. The director loves orzo. And I'm going to cook up, I'm going to cook a half a cup of the dry orzo. And then once that's done, I'll put it in here. And the reason I do that is because you don't want, I'm going to bring you up here. You don't want that orzo, there we go. Oh, now I'm crooked, but that's all right, you see me. Because you don't want that orzo soaking up all your liquid from the pot. So I'm going to put the lid on this. I'm going to set it on slow cook. And, well, if you had it on a stove, it's probably about 20 minutes. It's a pretty fast cook. In a slow cooker, you know, I can just leave it for, you know, 2 or 3 hours and come back and it'll be great. So that's what I'm going to do. And when it's done and I put the orzo in there, I will bring you back and show you, and we'll have a taste test. We'll see you soon. We're back. And it's time to try this. And the director is holding the camera right now. Oh, stop.
I'm very nervous.
You've had this before. Okay, so there it looks. It's just real, like I say, it's very peasant food, right? It's very peasant food. See,
Well, I'm a peasant.
See the orzo that's in there? See that? And it's just cooked.
I love
cooked.
orzo.
Yes.
Although I don't know if I've had this before. This is whole wheat orzo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Organic, of course. Yeah. All right.
Oh, let me get you some green one in there. Oh, and yeah, string beans. Okay, here we go. All right. And you know, if you didn't add the orzo, right, this would literally be a fat-free meal. I mean, it is a fat-free meal. So you want some go veggie on it?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Let's shoot the works.
Okay. Tell me when.
That's plenty. Thank you.
All right, and I'm gonna.
No salt or pepper? Or...
Well, let's try it first, okay? Because
Sounds
I did
good.
salt and pepper it. Okay, so we're gonna switch. We're gonna reverse roles here, and I'm gonna have the director taste it. All right,
Okay.
we're back. So here's the story: is that once I had it prepared, he came in, and he tasted it. He said how wonderful it was. And that was it. So I went to do the editing to get the video up on YouTube. Well, that whole bit about him tasting it was gone. We don't know. I hit the wrong button or something. So the bowl looks different because I had to make another bowl.
Well, you better show the bowl.
And I will. But here's what's interesting is that, as you can see, it's sat for a little bit and it's thickened up. The orzo it got a little more, it took on a more liquid, so it's really thickening up all on its own.
It's kind of like the director. It's plumped up over time.
It's plumped up over time. You're so sweet. Okay, so go ahead. Let's try
and the
this.
veggie cheese has melted,
just like the real cheese did. So let's give it another go.
All right, so I'm going to give it a try.
And it'll be interesting to see how it tastes now versus when I first made it. I find this sort of thing gets better as it sits.
Well, when you heat it up, you didn't. But
I didn't get it hot enough for you?
No,
Okay.
it's barely warm.
But I like it that way.
A lot of texture. Good flavor. I would say the predominant flavor is tomato. It's a tomato base. I'm trying all the veggies to make sure I get a little of everything.
He's mukbanging.
No, I'm not.
I'm only kidding you. I don't like that either.
Okay. Now I'm going to try the broth. It's excellent. It's excellent. It's a really good vegetable soup. It's not quite a minestrone, but it's an excellent vegetable soup. Good tomato-based flavor. Lots of texture in the vegetables. They're cooked, but not overcooked. And of course, anything you throw orzo in, I'm in love with. So, very good.
All right.
Very good.
All right. Well, thank you for tasting it for me.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. Tasting it twice. It is better, isn't it?
It is better.
Since it's sat for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always find those get better with, sitting around.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you for doing that for me. And thanks, everyone.
Pleasure. Thank you for giving me something to eat.
We'd like you to subscribe. Yeah, I'll give you something to eat. We want you to subscribe. We want you to tell your friends. We want you to give us a thumbs up. Comments. We love comments. And this is part of my soup series. And I've got a cucumber mint soup coming up and a carrot cilantro, I think it is.
Cool.
They're both cold soups.
All right.
So that'll be great. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.